Artificial Intelligent Finances. Welcome to Artificial Intelligent Finances YouTube channel. Today we are talking about what are bonds and how to invest in bonds in the UK. Sit back, enjoy and please do subscribe and comment under the video. What are bonds and how to invest in bonds in the UK? A bond is a type of investment in which an individual lends money to an organization, such as a corporation or government, in exchange for periodic interest payments and the return of the bond's face value when it matures. The organization that issues the bond is effectively borrowing the money and promising to repay over a set period of time, along with interest. The interest rate on a bond is fixed when the bond is issued and usually remains unchanged for the life of the bond. The length of time that a bond is issued for can vary, but is typically between 1 and 30 years. Bonds are considered a relatively low-risk investment compared to stocks, since the issuer of the bond has already promised to pay a set interest rate and repay the bond's face value by a specific date. However, the return on bonds is generally lower than the return on stocks, which have the potential for higher gains, but also come with a higher level of risk. Bonds can be bought and sold on bond markets, allowing investors to potentially make a profit by buying bonds at a lower price and selling them later at a higher price. However, it's important to note that the value of bonds can also decrease, particularly if interest rates rise or the financial health of the issuer deteriorates. Where can I purchase bonds? 1. Directly purchasing bonds. You can purchase bonds directly from the issuing entity, such as a corporation or government. For example, you could purchase a bond issued by the UK government through the Debt Management Office, DMO. Alternatively, you could purchase bonds issued by a corporation through a brokerage firm such as Hargreaves Lansdown, Barclays Stockbrokers, or Interactive Investor. 2. Bond funds. Bond funds are investment portfolios that hold a diversified mix of bonds. You can invest in bond funds through mutual fund companies, exchange-traded funds, ETFs, or a financial advisor. For example, you could invest in a bond fund offered by companies such as Vanguard, BlackRock, or HSBC. 3. Bond exchange-traded funds, ETFs. Bond ETFs trade on stock exchanges just like individual stocks and provide exposure to a diverse portfolio of bonds. For example, you could purchase bond ETFs offered by companies such as iShares, Invesco, or State Street Global Advisors. 4. Bond mutual funds. Bond mutual funds are professionally managed investment portfolios that pool money from multiple investors to purchase a mix of bonds. For example, you could invest in a bond mutual fund offered by companies such as Fidelity, Janus Henderson, or Schroders. It's important to note that the availability of specific bonds, bond funds, bond ETFs, and bond mutual funds will vary depending on the broker you choose. Additionally, it's recommended to carefully consider the fees, investment objectives, and risks associated with each investment before making a decision. It's also a good idea to compare different brokers to determine which one is the best fit for your investment goals and needs. Bonds versus ISAs. Bonds and ISAs, individual savings accounts, are two different types of investment vehicles that serve different purposes. Bonds are debt securities issued by governments, corporations, and other entities to raise capital. When you purchase a bond, you are essentially lending money to the issuer in exchange for periodic interest payments and the return of the bond's face value when it matures. Bonds are generally considered to be a relatively low-risk, low-return investment. ISAs, on the other hand, are tax-advantaged savings and investment accounts offered by the UK government. They allow you to save and invest up to a certain limit each tax year, with any interest or capital gains earned on the investments held in the ISA being tax-free. ISAs can be used to hold a variety of investments, including cash, stocks, and bonds. In summary, while bonds are a type of investment, ISAs are a type of investment account that can hold a variety of investments, including bonds. Whether you choose to invest in bonds or ISAs will depend on your financial goals, risk tolerance, and individual circumstances. It's important to consider all of your options and consult with a financial advisor if you are unsure which investment is best for you. The history of bonds. The history of bonds can be traced back to ancient civilizations, where rulers would borrow money from citizens or wealthy individuals in exchange for a promise to repay the loan with interest. This practice evolved into the issuance of formal bonds by governments and corporations, which are essentially IOUs used to raise capital. In the modern era, bonds have become an important tool for governments and corporations to finance long-term projects and investments. They have also become an important asset class for investors, offering a reliable source of income and a way to diversify their portfolios. One of the earliest recorded instances of bond issuance occurred in the 13th century, when the Republic of Genoa issued bonds to finance its war efforts. Over time, the bond market grew and evolved, with the Dutch East India Company issuing bonds in the 17th century, and the British government issuing its first consolidated bonds in the 19th century. In the 20th century, the bond market underwent further expansion and development, with the introduction of new types of bonds and the growth of the global bond market. Today, bonds are a widely traded asset class, with a vast array of options available to investors, including government bonds, corporate bonds, municipal bonds, and more. Overall, the history of bonds reflects the ongoing evolution of financial markets and the development of new financial instruments to meet the needs of investors and issuers. So in summarizing, bonds are safer to invest. Thank you for watching Artificial Intelligent Finances, your one-stop shop for finding ways to make money in any financial climate. Please subscribe, comment, and like this video. If you would like me to make a video on a particular subject, comment below and I will be happy to add that to my to-do list.